it's Stewart Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Swerdlow.
And this is our Expansions News podcast for the middle of October 2016.
And you can see we have such matching mind patterns. We coordinated and we didn't even know we were going to coordinate.
Well, no, mine is a little darker than yours.
But they're still like purple-violet things and gold.
Yeah, well, my internal organs are that color. And isn't this my first podcast since I came back?
No.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, it's like all one big haze to me.
No.
So, but this is my last one before I leave.
Yeah, but this is your second one since you've been back.
Yeah, okay, like whatever. So can I go?
I'm not stopping you, hon.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have that much today because I'm really trying to get ready to leave.
Yeah, so he doesn't care about you, but I care about you.
Is
So
that what I said?
Yes. So I have a lot of stories for you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, Hillary.
Go ahead. You're not making yourself look good.
Neither are you.
I'm not doing anything.
You're just
I'm
jealous.
just telling the truth.
You're jealous because
you just said you didn't
don't
care
have
about
long,
that.
blonde, beautiful hair
I couldn't
like
get
I do.
stories because I have to pack.
Okay, this sounds like the debate where we talk over each other. Now, speaking of being a space cadet, let's talk about space. Because they have recently discovered that there are, well, let me backtrack.
Surprise, but go ahead.
Remember in my seminars, I said there were 100 billion galaxies. In this universe, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now they said there are 2 trillion galaxies in this universe, more than 20 times than they previously thought. And this is based on a 3D model of images collected over 20 years by the Hubble Space Telescope and published in the Astronomical Journal, which I didn't know even existed.
The astronomical?
Astronomical Journal.
Astronomical.
Yeah, which was it's really the name of my diary. And to begin with, they said that the universe is so big that when light is given off by distant objects, it sometimes can't even reach the Earth. So effectively, most of what's out there we cannot see. So, according to this, that within the, in quotes, observable universe, current technology only allows us to glimpse 10% of what's there. Now, remember what I said also in my seminars, and this would be in the very beginning, basic hyperspace oversoul work. I tell everyone that human beings, our brains, our senses, can only perceive 0.5% of existence. So that means 99.5% of what's there we cannot perceive.
I think scientists have verified that as well at some point.
Yes, and then it even says here that it boggles the mind that over 90% of the galaxies in the universe cannot be studied. And it says they use deep space images from Hubble and convert them to 3D, which I don't know what, like holographic, I guess, measures the galaxies at different times in the history of the universe. Now, they said the universe reaches back more than 13 billion years to the Big Bang, but we know that's more older than that. And according to some mathematical models, they infer the number of invisible galaxies, meaning the ones that we can't see, beyond the reach of the telescopes, is the vast majority are too faint and far away to be seen. So, and this is the interesting part, because it basically confirms what I said in my Alien Agenda conference, that the universe, even when it was only a few billion years old, there were 10 times as many galaxies in a volume of space as there are today, and that over time they merged together. And I had said in my seminar that smaller, weaker galaxies are absorbed by the larger, stronger ones, and that's even part of what happened in this part of the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that for many years.
Yes, so now everything I say eventually they put on the news. Now, let's go to some more bizarro things, Donald Trump.
Well, I have a lot of Donald Trump stories.
Well, let me just tell you, he says that the presidential election is rigged. Well, that's true.
Yes.
That is true. And he said he doubts the integrity of the election, but the media says it's unproven statements and publishing negative stories. That's what they say.
Well, we've said this all along.
And Clinton's campaign called Trump's comments shameful attempts to undermine an election weeks before it happens, saying voter participation should not be undermined. Well, we all know, and I used to say, you might as well press the lever on your toilet bowl rather than on the election booth because it's all fake. They already know who they're putting in office.
But even beyond that, it's not even the American people, it's the Electoral College, which they rarely talk about.
Which is so archaic, it shouldn't exist anymore.
We don't even know who they are. Nobody knows who they are.
But the point
or how they get elected.
The point being that the popular vote doesn't count.
Exactly.
It's
So
just
what's
these
the
other
point?
people that
But we
decide
don't know. We don't even know who they are.
We don't know. It's
We
just
should
like,
be telling them what we want.
so is there any difference between that and the EU, where the laws are made by people that the population did not elect? And
It's the
most of the
same.
people in the EU don't even know that.
Right, it's the same.
It's just a dictatorship. Now,
More?
let's get our what do you call those Scottish?
Kilt.
Kilts. Let's get our kilts on, because Scottish separatist leader Nicola Sturgeon said that she believes Scotland will become independent and stronger than ever with a second referendum for leaving Britain. Now, she's part of the Scottish National Party, or SNP.
Snip.
SNP, yes.
Snip.
Kind of sounds like Saturday Night Live, SNL, yeah.
Snip.
Anyway, First Minister of the semi-autonomous Scottish government has pledged to explore all options to prevent Scotland being taken out of the European Union against its will. And she says that options are already being discussed for a second referendum, which is highly likely, which I'm very actually glad to hear that. And at a conference in Glasgow, she said, "I have never doubted that Scotland will one day become an independent country, and I believe it today more strongly than I ever have before." Of course, she said it with a Scottish accent,
Can you do that?
Oh, yes, and I believe it today more than strongly than I ever have before.
And what's your name?
Stewart,
There you
which
go.
is a Scottish name. There you go. British Unionists warned Scots that remaining in the UK was the only way to protect Scotland's place in the EU. That was before the 2014 vote, and then Britain screwed them by getting out of the EU. But Scotland now faces the prospect of being taken out of the EU with the rest of the UK. But you know who else wants to separate? Corsica. Did you know that?
No.
Corsica is an island in the Mediterranean which is owned by or controlled by France, and they want to separate.
Yeah, I think I heard that sometime back.
And Sardinia, which is controlled by Italy, also wants to separate, and so on and so on. And so one very senior European politician has said, to Scotland, "We didn't understand why you wanted to be independent in 2014, but we understand now."
Can you say that with a Scottish accent?
But we understand now.
There you go.
There you go. I don't know where we're going, but we're going. And I love haggis. I really love organic haggis.
You're breaking up with me to be with haggis?
Yes.
Haggis who?
Well,
You just said, I love haggis in
I do
front
love
of, in the
haggis. I
public.
love you, haggis. I want you to come so I can eat you.
What's her... Oh, that's horrible.
Yes. Thank you. And may I just say one more
You're
thing?
known for being horrible, but go ahead.
Can I say one more thing?
Can I stop you?
Yeah, you can. You always take that thing and stick it in my butt while people aren't looking. But anyway...
You like that.
I
You
want-
told me to do it. You said they're not looking. Stick it up my butt now.
Yes, but not the sharp thing.
You like that.
No, I want the other thing. Anyway, I've been looking on the news, as you know, and there
Because you
have...
can read.
Well, look at the pictures, actually.
There you
But there have been
What?
a
Is
lot
that a
of...
signal for me to stick it up your butt?
You
Go
know,
ahead.
I don't, you,
You
become,
said
you become
what?
a potty mouth, really.
You are the one who started it.
And would your Southern Baptist family appreciate that? I don't think so.
I
Anyway,
can make comments about
there
your
have
family.
been, there have
Don't
been
make comments
bear
about my
and Bigfoot, there have been bear and, oh, yeah, I
Stop
don't know
it.
where you've been. There have been bear and Bigfoot triggers on the news. Bears killing people, people killing
I thought you
bears.
meant B-A-R-E, bear.
And
Like when they're naked
well,
people.
that's my videos. But also Bigfoot, even here in Michigan. Did we talk about that last
Your
week?
big feet?
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah, you talked about the
that
eagle
There was a
camp,
video
yes.
and all that. And now there's another one in Indonesia that they saw. So that's a Russian trigger. That means it's going to trigger the Russian sleepers in North America. You will see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, now my turn. I have election stories.
I don't care.
Really good election stories. First of all, Trump says that a global power structure is trying to take down his campaign.
Oh, you think?
Now, it's interesting because we all know that the news is scripted. So to me, global power structure, the more times they use that, the more they're imprinting you to think about a global power structure.
GPS.
Yes.
That's GPS.
Yes, very good.
See, I'm not so...
And think of the G8 meetings and all that stuff. G20,
Gee.
G6.
Gee whiz.
Well, anyway, global power structure. So that, I noticed that term is all through the news. So anyway, when he was speaking at a rally in West Palm Beach, Florida, he said that this election is the last chance his supporters have at overthrowing the corrupt establishment, meaning the media, the government, special interests, and corporations.
Wow,
of course, he is part of the corporations
Yes.
and special interests and the media, but he doesn't talk
But now
about
he wants to do good things.
He says it's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities.
Yeah, like Trump Enterprises.
Exactly. For them, it's a war, and for them, nothing at all is out of bounds. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it on November 8th.
And
Remember
November
that.
9, I leave the country.
Yeah, they're probably asking you to.
I do.
Now, this was also interesting. Do you know that the world's second richest man is a Mexican?
No.
Yep.
There's a lot of enchiladas.
But listen to me. His name is Carlos Slim. Now, does that sound like a Mexican named Slim?
No.
No. So it doesn't sound real. But anyway, it says that Donald Trump says that Carlos Slim is trying to sink his campaign. He said that Trump intends to charge that Slim, the world's second richest man and the New York Times' largest stakeholder, wants to help elect Hillary Clinton, and claims that Slim's donation to the Clinton Foundation have been between $250,000 to $500,000. I don't think it's
We
really
should
that
have a
much.
foundation and ask him to contribute.
I know, because for them that's not that much. That's like what they
No.
spend when they go,
That's lunch.
Yeah, so it's not that much. But Arturo Elias, which sounds more Mexican. Arturo?
Elias.
Is that a Mexican name, Elias?
Could be. Arturo is Spanish.
Arturo definitely is. It says this is totally false. It's his son-in-law. Of course, he says, of course we're not interfering in the U.S. election. We aren't even active in Mexican politics.
Because they just kill people.
Yep. And now it goes on to say that it's the attack on Slim, which is like, it's
Slim.
a Mexican
You know
name,
what?
Slim.
That's Slim Pickens.
Yeah. His attack, that was a real person. An attack on Slim and his ties to the Clinton Foundation is likely meant to unite Trump's previous salvos against Mexico, the New York Times, and, quote, the global power structure
GPS.
that the Republican candidate has invoked repeatedly during his campaign. So remember, global power structure is putting this in your mind.
Yeah.
And then they want to know if Russia is prepping for a global war.
Are they talking about my peeps again?
And as reportedly, Russia has ordered all the relatives of officials abroad home to Russia.
Yeah, but they're not coming there.
Then, Mikhail Gorbachev has warned that the world is at a dangerous point due to rising tensions between Russia and the U.S., citing, quote, a collapse of mutual trust.
Yeah, that happened a long time ago.
But the issue is before the elections, they were talking about how wonderful Russia was, and they were trying to build up the relationship.
And you know, after the election, they'll go back to the same thing.
So they're just trying to do whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, it says further complicating matters. The Obama administration has accused Moscow of backing hacks meant to disrupt the U.S. election. And then Putin answered that, saying the hysteria is simply to distract the American people from the contents of what the hackers have posted.
That's right.
Then we go a step further. Now this I thought was totally ridiculous, because the Obama administration, it says, is contemplating an unprecedented cyber covert action against Russia.
Yeah, wait, let's announce this on
Right.
the news because it's a secret operation. Don't tell the
It
Russians.
says here it would be a clandestine
Right, they
cyber
just announced on the
operation
media.
designed to harass and embarrass the Kremlin leadership.
And the stupid Americans believe that. Oh, it's a secret, don't tell
I know.
anyone.
And then Vice President Joe Biden told Meet the Press moderator
Okay,
Chuck
right,
Todd.
because you say Joe Biden, right away that means liar, F-face.
Well, he says, quote, we're sending a message to Putin, and it will be at the time of our choosing and under the
Right.
circumstances that will have the greatest impact.
Right, you just told him.
And then it says President Obama will ultimately have to decide whether he will authorize such a CIA operation.
The CIA can't find their way out of a paper bag.
But the thing is what you just said. You know, if they're going to do
I
something,
mean,
they're
that's
not
how
going
ridiculous.
Right.
How many people believe this crap?
But they're not going to announce a secret thing to all of America.
It's like the fox saying, don't tell the chickens,
Right.
but we're coming tonight.
Right,
And
right.
they put it on the news.
Right. It's just, when I saw that, and then it gets even worse. Because I told you last time, that maybe 2 weeks ago, that this is a total show. I told you that. And I also told you.
What did you tell me?
I told
well, you told me
you
many nasty things which I can't repeat.
Well, I've told you that it's a show for people. And it's to distract you. So, this one just went like, totally, I couldn't even believe it. It said that President Obama sniffs himself to prove that he is not a demon. Now, this is mainstream news.
I do that. Wait.
Are you a demon?
It smells like sulfur.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a little scary.
Scary.
Wait. Oh, it's even worse.
Anyway, now this is it. You know, normally they ignore everything that's said in the media. But most people here have heard of Alex Jones.
Yes, I
Who
met him.
is
He's
a
like this big. He's like
conspiracy.
He's like a little puppet. Alex.
He's like claims to be a conspiracy theorist anyway. So apparently, and somebody told me that, not here recently, that Trump was actually on Alex Jones' show.
I know, I can't
couldn't
believe it.
that.
Why did he come on my podcast?
But the point is still, is what's going on with
I'm going
this
to call
show.
Hillary and ask her to come on.
So Alex Jones said on his show, now Obama's saying this, that he said, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones said on his show that Hillary Clinton is, quote, an abject, psychopathic demon from hell that as soon as she gets into power is going to try to destroy the planet.
Well, that's true.
Unquote.
That's true.
Then he continued accusing the presidential candidate of smelling bad and dragging the current president into it. Quote, imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink, 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 stink. You can't wash that evil off, man. Folks, I've been told this by high-up folks. They say, listen, Obama and Hillary both
In other words,
smell
he heard
like
someone
sulfur.
on the fourth floor yelling it down to him.
So then while at a rally in North Carolina the day after these claims, President Obama addressed the claims. That's what shocked me.
That's what I don't understand.
Quote, I was reading, this is Obama, I was reading the other day, there's a guy on the radio who apparently said me and Hillary are demons, said we smell like sulfur. Ain't that something? Then he smells the back of his hand, laughed, and said, I mean, come on, people. So the fact that he's addressing this means they're giving it attention, which means, I've told you before, they're trying to meld politics and New World religion together, and it's just everybody's going to watch it. This is mainstream news now, so the show is escalating, period. And then somebody else told me that Alex Jones said that Hillary Clinton has
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton said that Alex Jones has a dark heart.
Yeah, because she doesn't.
But the
Just
point
him.
being is now they're talking about this conspiracy theorist, Alex Jones, on mainstream
I know,
news
isn't that shocking?
and bringing him into mainstream politics. So, think about
Well, it's
that.
because he hangs out with Jesse Ventura.
And then the interesting thing is after I watched this video, the next link, these were some of the quotes from the next link. One said, in one way she is a monster. The next phrase was, he made a deal with the devil. Then democracy in a big country does not work if you constantly demonize them. And then what do you do with witches in this country? You burn them. This was all in the name.
That's
So
Wizard of Oz programming.
it's all about getting you set up for more show. And then, speaking of show, how about this creepy clown trend that's spreading outside of the U.S. now?
I'll tell you right now, if I found a creepy clown to try to, I would beat the crap out of him.
Well, now apparently this craze is sweeping across the UK, and apparently they have something called
But they're all
Childline.
creepy clowns there. How do they know the difference?
It's a 24-hour counseling
Look at the queen. She
service
looks like a creepy clown.
for children, and it's received 120 calls in the past week from children. A quarter of the callers under age 11 from Birmingham, Manchester, and Nottingham. Like Robin Hood, didn't he live in Nottingham?
Maybe.
A 14-year-old
Sherwood
described...
Forest he lived in.
Yeah, but he had the sheriff of Nottingham, so I'm not after him or something. A 14-year-old described being chased by a clown while walking with his brother. A 10-year-old boy in Plymouth was chased by a clown with a hammer. 11-year-old in Cumbria was also chased by an axe-wielding prankster.
My goodness.
And a 13-year-old girl was messaged on Instagram from someone posing as a clown who threatened to cut her throat and rape her.
Lovely clowns, aren't they?
Yeah. So, remember again, we've been telling you clowns.
I think it was all Prince Philip.
Why don't you tell them what clowns mean, and then I'll move along.
Well, I have told them
Well,
before.
we'll continue because it's their first time watching.
It's IS programming, means intelligence spectrum, and that's a very delicate, sensitive, and brutal program, which only very few people have, which brings you to levels of function that either will make you survive, go to the next level, or kill you. And it doesn't matter which one happens. If you survive, then you go to the next level.
Yeah, so
it was very brutal. It's very dangerous. And I'm very surprised that this is now public.
Yeah,
Because I never thought it would be public, which shows how desperate the Illuminati really are at this point.
and we talked about that in 13 Cubed, I believe.
Yeah.
And a lot of your earlier videos, which are on our website. So, Mind Control and
Years
Programming
ago, I
and
told people,
Deprogramming. Yep.
decades ago.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, you've got to do your deprogramming and your protection work, obviously. Then we have Thailand's King Bhumibol.
Hey, you watch your language.
He
It's
died. This was
disrespectful.
interesting. He died in October, which October is means 8 Octo. He dies at 88, and then on October 13, and there's that number 13, which the Illuminati love. And apparently, he was, it says that he headed a conservative establishment that still wields considerable power 84 years after the abolition of absolute monarchy. Now, remember, and I'm not going to go into this, but about 2 or 3 months ago, I did a podcast on the numbers 84 and 48. So here is 88, he's in Octo, which is an 8, and it was 84 years after the abolition of absolute monarchy. So I still believe there's something else. So if you're into numbers, I'm sure you can find that.
And where was he born?
He was actually born in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
So that just goes to show you people that even if you're born in America, you could become king of Thailand.
Yes, and he also lived in
Something
the
to
U.S.
look forward to.
He studied in Switzerland. Now this was also interesting because apparently his brother, who was 20 years old, was next crowned king, and then he was shot. They still don't know by who.
Yeah, him, by the one that became
And
king.
then he became king, and then he married his distant cousin.
Yeah,
Remember
that's
how
incest.
Yes, and that happens in all the monarchies, which we've told you about. He studied in the Buddhist monkhood, and he also gave a lot of the money of his own family money to environmental and rural development, so people loved him for that. But this was interesting to me because it said that Thailand's monarchy is one of the world's richest. I didn't realize they had that much money behind
Yeah, a
it.
lot of gold.
Because because the people of Thailand, a lot of them are very, very poor. But apparently he's helping. Anyway.
And they're also screwed up in the head, those people.
His
Really.
presumed successor is his only son, Crown Prince Maha, who's 63.
No, you didn't say the whole name. I want to say the whole name
You
in the
say it, dear.
sentence. Maha Vajiralongkorn.
Yeah, it sounds like a Viking name to me.
I
Doesn't
don't
sound
think so.
like a
That
Thailand.
is not a Viking name.
Longcorn, that could even be a
That's his typical Thai
Longcorn.
family ending. Yes.
Longhorn.
Yes.
I've never heard of it before. Now this one was especially interesting to me. Now we know that the Netherlands was the first country
Talk about more nutsy people.
to legalize euthanasia in 2002 for patients who were considered to be suffering unbearable pain with no hope of a cure.
Just living in Netherlands is unbearable.
But
pain.
listen to this. Now they're intending to draft a law that would legalize assisted suicide for people who feel, quote, that they have completed life but are not necessarily terminally ill.
I'll be the judge of that.
They said that they're working on a plan that says, quote, I have a well-considered opinion that their life is complete, must under strict and careful criteria be allowed
Yeah.
to finish that life in a manner dignified for them.
And who decides that?
Well, that's my point. So now people who are sick, let's kill them. And now, oh, you know what? I think maybe you finished your life. Here,
Because
sign
I
this
have a
paper.
list of people who I think finished their life, and I think maybe should go to Holland.
Well, instead of just, killing people
Yeah.
off,
We should
now they
give
can...
them a ticket to Holland.
I'm just telling you that I just think this is really, really bad. When people are killing their own people...
You know what I think?
What?
This is not very Buddha.
Yeah, I don't think it's funny. And then I
I bet
told
people
you
are laughing, crying out
about dozens of Dead Sea Scroll fragments that were discovered, and now they've been depicted in 2 new books. Now, apparently the newly revealed fragments may contain the first known passages from the book of Nehemiah if authenticated. What's interesting,
My grandmother liked him.
and I didn't
She knew him personally, by the way.
and I didn't talk about this, but I've been seeing this, and people have actually been sending me information, is that, you know how the scrolls are all curled up and they're afraid to
Like
open
my
them?
DNA, yes.
They're afraid to open them because they think that they might fall apart. Well, now
Because they would.
they're claiming now that they have this x-rays that can read it while it's curled up and then uncurl it and read it.
Really?
The paper isn't uncurled, but they uncurl it via,
Maybe they
on
could
the
do that
screen.
with some of my parts that are kind of curled up now.
Anyway, I saw that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And then
helpful.
they're claiming a new dwarf planet, which was going to help them locate Planet 9.
Oh.
So I thought that was interesting. They're saying that this planet called 214UZ224.
I want to live on that planet.
It is about 330 miles across. It's roughly half the size of Pluto, but orbits our sun twice as far away. It's well outside the ring of asteroids and debris known as the Kuiper Belt.
There you go.
There you go. It's about 8.5 billion miles from the sun and takes about 1,100 Earth years to make a single orbit. So they're claiming that it was found by something called the Dark Energy Camera.
Ooh.
But
that sounds like something from Hillary Clinton's body.
They're saying now that by focusing on this orbit, that they might be able to find somewhere using that as like a focal point, this 9th planet.
Ooh. I could tell them where it is right now.
And then this is interesting too, because I've kind of been ignoring this story, but it keeps popping up. And the story's titled that some Silicon Valley elites think we may be living in the Matrix.
Oh, you think?
But what's interesting about this is, of course, they introduced this, by the film a long time ago called The Matrix. But now they're saying that many people in Silicon Valley have become obsessed with the simulation hypothesis. The argument that what we experience as reality is in fact fabricated in a computer. And 2 tech billionaires have gone so far, here's this word again, have gone so far as to secretly engage scientists to work on breaking us out of the simulation. So again, what's real, what's not real? That's really what they're doing. They're messing with your minds again. And here, we've been talking about the racial issue here in the U.S., that they're trying to divide us by race. And so here again, it says George Washington's biracial family is now getting new recognition by
George Washington is biracial?
His biracial family. By the National Park Service, because apparently George Washington, who owned hundreds of slaves, says that Martha Washington was married first, and before him she had a son, which then became his adopted son, and then he had fathered this adopted son of George Washington, Martha's son, fathered several children with 2 of Washington's slaves at his home in Mount Vernon. So
that's all the black people with the last name Washington.
Apparently. Anyway, and then the Arlington House has unveiled a new exhibition called Lives Bound Together, which focuses on 19 of the 317 enslaved individuals who lived at Mount Vernon during his time.
So Washington had slaves.
Yes, and the thing that was interesting to this really got me. It said, in his 1799 will, Washington included a slave census and a directive to emancipate his slaves. His decision to doing so, which Martha promptly carried out, reflects the nearly 7 decades the president spent thinking about slaves' effects. So for 70 years...
Well, after I die, you can free them.
Yeah. So he was a slave owner since the age of 11.
What?
That's what it says.
My birthday's coming up.
And he brought fewer slaves to his 1759 marriage than Martha brought. So
she had slaves too?
She had more. And we read a book about that some time back.
Martha.
But again, we've talked about this before, is that slavery has existed since humans have been here.
Yeah, it's in the Bible. It even tells you how to treat your slaves in the Bible, because God said it's okay.
Right, and we have talked about how that the Irish slaves and the white slaves were treated worse than the black slaves. Because the black slaves were better workers and they were more physically fit.
And they could buy their way out.
Yes, and anyway, it's ridiculous.
The whole world is ridiculous, which is why I'm waiting to get the frick off of here.
And then, speaking of ridiculous, did you know that Forbes has a list of 2016 top-earning dead celebrities? Now,
wait, so they're dead and they're earning money?
Yeah. Isn't that stupid? And guess who tops the list?
Wait, Bill Clinton.
He's not dead yet.
Well, he kind of is.
Michael Jackson. So here we're going from biracial. We don't know what Michael Jackson is. Is he black or is he white? Is
he male, female, human,
yeah, we don't know.
Animal, person, who knows?
What gender that obviously we don't know. But anyway, so Michael Jackson tops the list of top earning dead celebrities. Now there's also a lot of interesting things about death going around on the internet, which I talked last week about people's spirits leaving their body. They had one, and again back to Mexico, there was a young woman who supposedly was killed by her father. The body was encased in wax for 300 years, and they have a picture of somebody filming her and this woman's eyes open, the corpse. And we have told you before that dolls and things like this are to animate the astral entities.
That's very scary.
So, death, and I noticed too they're bringing up more things about dying, like they'll show you dogs that are dying, or
I know, I don't like
accidents, or
dead elephants and things like that.
But more death to
I
get
don't
you
like
used
it.
to first dead bodies, now things leaving the body, and now things animating the body. So all of this stuff and this demonizing stuff, it all has to do with New World religion and the politics that they're trying to bring to the forefront. Okay, and then I notice you don't have any fingernail polish on.
No, I had to take it off this morning because I had to breathe.
Apparently there's something called now the Polished Man Challenge. So if you want to raise awareness about physical and sexual violence against children, men are supposed to take one fingernail and put on bright fingernail polish.
Really?
Isn't
And how is that going to help children?
I think it's stupid. I think what it does is it helps imprint men to put fingernail polish on.
It's become Caitlyn
Period.
Jenner.
And then they...
Hi, I'm Caitlyn Jenner, and these are my breasts.
Then, speaking of that, you might want to get a corset out. Get your corset out.
You think I need one?
Well, because that's a new
I'm
thing.
so insulted.
And again, it has to do with New World religion. So it was very interesting because they said that at Paris Fashion Week, that models walk the runway with loose corsets, with shirts and dresses tucked underneath, and about how that women, are embracing this and they're just so surprised by it, blah, blah, blah. And then there was an article, and I looked this one up because they're rerunning a lot of articles. This woman, whose name is Pixie from Sweden.
Pixie.
She had 6 ribs removed to make her waist very small.
That means she only has 6 left.
And she said when people tell her she looks like a cartoon, she considers that a compliment.
I think she has a little problem.
She has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And the fact that, as we've talked about before, the doctors do this because they say it's
What
a
doctor
danger.
would do that?
Obviously a person with a
Someone
problem.
who should be smashed in a
Taken
cement
his
mixer.
they did it in Indianapolis. So I think that they should have their license revoked. But she now has a 14-inch waist, and she has to wear the corset because the ribs hold up your organs and protect you.
She's an idiot.
Well, and the doctor who did it's an idiot. And she said that they could see that I'm okay in my head.
Really?
And now this one is so weird again. It says Miley Cyrus comes out as pansexual.
Does that mean she has sex with a frying pan?
Yes. And it says while people are shocked, she is very matter-of-fact about it. So now people are struggling to understand the meaning of pansexuality. But Cyrus feels that liberated and that she has a mission in life because she wants to help people who are just like herself. It says pansexual people are considered gender blind, for whom gender and sex are insignificant or irrelevant in deciding who they will be sexually attracted to.
Isn't that just bisexual?
Well, no, the bisexual community apparently says that it's quite different.
How?
Well, they're arguing about that, they say.
How many genders are there really?
It says it's a matter of, it's 52 if you live in New York. It's a matter of hot debate among people, especially the bisexual community. Now, Miley Cyrus says she feels neither straight nor gay because she's not.
What is she? She's Pan.
She's Pan.
She's Peter Pan.
She likes frying pans. She understands her sexuality more and feels that it is unassigned. And though she is engaged to Liam Hemsworth, she does not see herself as a girl. She's a frying pan.
Well, that says a lot about Liam.
Well, obviously it's put together for whatever reason. And now, there's a new career that they're trying to get established in Canada called a psychedelic supervisor.
A?
A.
What? A?
Apparently, there's a gentleman by the name of Mark Hayden who is trying to legalize psychedelic drugs in Canada.
Well, they don't need them because they're a little already.
This gentleman is an addictions counselor and a researcher based in Vancouver
That's about to be destroyed.
that's studying the effects of a drug known as ecstasy and treating post-traumatic stress disorder. So if Health Canada approves his research, psychedelic drugs could be legalized in Canada in the next 5 years. And so they want to create the licensed profession called psychedelic supervisors.
I want to be that.
Which apparently would be along the same lines as doctors, lawyers, accountants, and veterinarians.
I want to be a psychedelic supervisor.
They said that there are 3 possible risks for taking drugs. Toxicity.
Only 3?
That's what they're saying. Toxicity risks, dependency risks, and behavioral risks. Now this is interesting
No
because...
financial or emotional or...
Listen to me.
What?
When we were growing up, LSD was just coming on the scene.
Yeah.
And they talked a lot about the dangers of LSD and we heard stories of people with their flashbacks and all those kind of things.
I have them anyway.
They're saying the toxicity on LSD is very low, and people don't say, I can't stop taking LSD. It's like, really?
No one takes that anymore. You never hear about it.
Well, that's right. Now they're saying, oh, it's okay. So it says, as long as they're done in pure dosages and pure concentration. So the risks are low, they're saying. But with supervision, you're fine.
Well, now, I want to be an LSD counselor.
People who do really foolish things when they're on psychedelics can create problems for themselves and the people around them. So they want to regulate them in a legal world and do it with a supervisor. That makes, absolute sense, and says. And so, I told you what kind of training. They want to have them some for PTSD, post-traumatic stress
I had that.
syndrome. They want to do it for people who want to do ayahuasca ceremonies. So there'd be a variety of specialties within the psychedelic supervisor category. Isn't that ridiculous? And then they wanted, of course, they said shortly after that passed it, the legislation for recreational use of psychedelic drugs, because you can't get addicted to them according to this research, which I don't believe. I'm
I
sorry.
don't believe that either, actually.
So it would be for spiritual and therapeutic use, and you don't have to have a prescription for an illness to participate in the process.
No?
No.
Even though it's illegal?
Well, once they get it legalized, that's the point. Within 5 years, they want to make it legal, and then
Let's make everything legal.
well, that's what they're trying to do. Again, because they're going to use this in the New World religion, okay? That's what they're getting you to accept, and people are just doing it. And now this was
People are
also
stupid.
this was also interesting to me, and I'm going to tell you why on a couple different levels. This is about diet or teachers in an area. This is focusing on this area north of Toronto, again in Canada. By a registered dietitian named Abby Langer, who feels that it is wrong to take away kids' lunches and snacks, because apparently that's what teachers are doing up there when they think that the kids' lunches or snacks are unhealthy.
Because the kid doesn't have blah, 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 take it away.
And they said the schools say there's no policy, but the teachers are doing this, and this dietitian says that she's hearing this and that she's very upset. Because some people are poor and they rely on food banks, and sometimes that's all they have to eat, might be a chocolate chip granola bar. And so the teachers take it away, and they take away the kids' only food source.
Oh, that's really stupid.
But so listen to this. This is where we get interesting. This dietitian worries that demonizing food sets kids on an unhealthy path. So where have we heard that word demonizing?
From Michelle Obama and Hillary and
Barack.
Barack.
Again, and this catches in the throat. So demonizing and all this stuff now is coming like more mainstream into the news. So watch for these buzzwords. Remember I told you the global power structure, the demonizing.
GPS.
And sulfur. You know, all this stuff has to do with what they have in store for you. So it's just, like I said, totally bizarre world. When you learn to read your frequencies, which is what we teach you to do, your hyperspace oversoul work, you start understanding what's going on, and therefore you don't have to participate in it. So I want to remind you that our biggest, most intense class is coming up in January, which while that might feel or sound far away, as soon as we're through the holidays, you're going to think, wow, what just happened, and where can I go to fix myself?
I say that every day.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. But anyway, so consider our January class if you're interested. It's our most intense class of the year. All the details are on the website. And of course, you can always contact Patricia, customer support at expansions.com. But that is our next big, our most intense event of the year. It happens one time a year here in St. Joseph, Michigan.
That's why it's called January.
Yeah. So with that, and then you had mentioned you're getting ready to go overseas again.
Well, first I go to Tucson.
Oh, that's right.
Which I don't even know why I'm going.
Transformational shift.
I have no clue what I'm going to do there.
You're on a panel
Yeah.
for 90 minutes to answer questions.
That's why I'm going there?
That's why
I
you're
have to
going
go
there.
all the way to Tucson
You're not
for
even
that?
a featured speaker, which
I know. It's like, what the heck?
and you're not invited
Why
to
did I
the
go?
you're not invited to the speaker's dinner the night
I'm
before.
not going to have food?
I don't know, but you're not invited there.
Oh, I'm so hurt.
Well, and you're only going to sit and be on a panel. So if you want to hear
You know
him,
what? I'm just going to sit in the lobby.
you have to go there on that one Saturday
They have to come and get me.
and have your
beg
questions.
me to be on the panel.
And then you have to give him your questions on that one Saturday. You have 90 minutes, and that's it.
Well,
Okay, so after Tucson transformational shift, then what?
Then I go to Ukraine
Because
it's there.
oh,
I have to fix it. It's kind of have a problem. Then I'm going to Armenia.
because that's where Kim Kardashian is from.
That's because mean people live in Armenia.
Yeah.
They're mean. So I have to fix them.
So is Kim Kardashian a mean person?
Then I have to go back to Moscow very briefly. Because
cows live there.
Because
Because in Moscow,
Putin needs,
cows live there.
Oh my God.
Mean people in Armenia, cows in Moscow. Go ahead.
Then I go to Poland for the conference, the
Exposing,
real conference.
exposing the truth.
Exposing where I'm the master of ceremony,
I'm trying to say master, that bothers me.
which I'm just a master, period.
No, you're a master, period.
And I'll be meeting with certain very important people I cannot mention.
Yeah.
And then I go to Milan also for reasons unknown to myself. I have no clue why I'll be there, seriously. And then a quick brief stop in New York, and then I'll come back here for my birthday.
I was thinking you're coming for Guy Fawkes Day.
Which is my birthday.
What is Guy Fawkes Day anyway? GF.
November 5. November 5.
What is
I
it?
still have received nothing in the mail from all my readers and people out there who were supposed to send me presents and didn't. And then November 8th is the horrible election, the fake horrible American election. Mm-hmm. And so the next day I leave the country on purpose.
Do you realize the next day is like 9/11? Backwards.
Oh, that's
11/9.
great. I'm flying that day.
Except
Thank you.
If you're in Europe, then they would write 11/9. But here in the U.S., if they're in Europe, they would say 9/11.
Yes.
And here in the U.S., we say 11/9.
Right.
So that's the day you're flying.
Isn't that? Thank you for reminding me about that.
You're welcome.
And
It's
then
my job.
I'll be off to Australia. Maybe I'll ask for political asylum. I don't know.
They might not let you out. You never know.
And then to Singapore, and then a brief stop in Korea, and then I will come back for the rest of the year.
Which isn't very long.
No.
You'll be back and through our January class.
Yeah, so then I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah, well, we have things in the works, but we're not telling you yet because we have to get
Even I
everything
don't know.
verified.
Mm-hmm.
But we have lots of things going on.
do?
Yes, we do. We do have a couple of days with Stewart in December, which we have people asking about already. And sometimes they come in for the January class and then they do a day with you before after.
Oh,
So if this is on your plan, then you might want to get scheduled right away, because if you want reports, remember it takes them 3 days to do them before you even come.
right.
And then we have to have them edited and printed. So your day with Stewart starts long before you arrive. Plus, of course, I have to develop the special, unique menu for you.
Right.
For the special lunch I'm going to give you.
Which is always, that people come just for that.
Yes. So, anyway, we have amazing things planned. We always do. And that's because you are such amazing people that you are actually willing to listen to the truth, because there are so many people out there who don't, and do something about it. And just because you know the truth, you don't have to participate in it.
That's true. I don't have to participate in anything.
No, you need to participate in your own self-person. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's it. Right?
All right, well, I'll probably see you the day after my birthday. And then that's it till like Thanksgiving.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's American Thanksgiving, because Canadian Thanksgiving we already
We had Canadian Thanksgiving
Yes.
here this past week.
And that was our first Canadian Thanksgiving ever, and it was amazing.
Yes, we had the Art of Dying here, which
Yep.
the podcast is still not up on the website.
But it's up on YouTube and my Facebook page.
So you can go see that.
But they were amazing. We had a private concert. We were so
Yes,
lucky, and we
right.
got some of Johnny's private barbecue sauce
He
collection.
did.
No, not barbecue, hot sauce.
Hot sauce he
Hot
gave
sauce
us.
collection.
Right, and they were so jealous of my voice and my hair.
Yeah.
I like really, I was ashamed of them.
I know. We go through it every year
I
with
mean,
them.
if seriously, get over it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like Tavis was crying. It's like he was looking at
Yeah.
you and he was just crying.
Yeah,
It was
I know.
awful. And Johnny kept, putting on the sunglasses
He
and
kept
hiding.
touching my hair. I'm like,
Yeah.
stop touching me.
Yeah, because he knows.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult. I want when people come and they
It's
have
hard
to,
for them. It's hard for them.
very difficult. And think what I have to put up with, really. I mean, I have to, try
I can't help
and
it. I wake up like this.
do
I'll
my
even try.
best, and this is what I have to compete with every day.
I'm sorry.
That's why when he's not here or I'm here with him, you say, "Oh, I wish she would shut up so we could hear him."
I know. And
We get those kind of comments a lot.
We do. They want
You.
bro time, which
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very hard here, let me tell you. So if you come in January, please, I know it's going to be hard for you, but so it
Yeah.
will outshine you. So just please accept that
Just
fact.
deal with it.
Yeah.
And
We have-
bring a shovel.
What for?
Because they said it'd be a
For
lot of
your
lake
BS.
effect snow this year. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll see you whenever I get back.
All right. Have a good week.
Bye for now.
Bye.